Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Tuesday, which means it's time for a Talk Magic. No, it's not a Talk Magic, it's a Magic News. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. It's a Magic News. The idea is very simple. Every week on a Tuesday, I bring to you what's happening in the Magic community. All the news, all the rumours, all the gossip, stuff that people are talking about in the forums, new tricks, absolutely everything. If you're too busy to keep on top of everything that's going on in this wonderful community, then I am here to let you know everything that has happened. Now, if there's any magic news that you would like to share on this channel, all you have to do is let me know, and I will include your magic news in next week's news program. But there's an awful lot going on. We're into September, which means we're back into convention season. We're not going to go into too much to do with conventions, but we are going to get to it with this week's magic news. Okay, so first of all, there's been a video clip that has been shared in forums, literally all over the internet, all over Facebook and various different Facebook groups, and it is a video of David Blaine doing a short interview. It's kind of like a reel of a longer interview, but it's actually of David Blaine talking about David Copperfield. And he says that, and basically in the interview, he talks about how David Copperfield does roughly 650 shows a year. And David Blaine talks about how when he had a chat with David Copperfield said, well, you know, I'll do 3 on a Saturday, 2 on a Sunday, 2 every other day, and I do about 650 shows a year. And David Blaine said, are you nuts? I do like 1 show a month. And David Copperfield said, yeah, it's going to take me about 500 performances to really nail a trick down and get it to the point where I feel it's working for me, which is kind of interesting. It's an interesting clip to look at anyway. But the other thing, the 2 take-homes I got from this is, first of all, why is David Copperfield still performing at this level? Like, he's not getting any younger. He literally has more money than anyone. He has his own private island, for God's sake. He doesn't need to work again. If he decided to hang up his top hat and his magic wand tomorrow and never do a show again, it's not like he's going to be going down the Dole office on the Monday going, can I have a handout, please, and getting a job, sweeping floors or something. That's not the case. He's set up for the rest of his life, which kind of says to me he loves magic. He either loves magic or he really loves money. But when it gets to the amount of money that he's got, I think it just becomes, it's not an important factor anymore. So my guess is that he really loves magic. And I think it's people like that and Penn and Teller that have got super successful careers and they're getting into the twilight of their career, and yet they're still performing at such a busy level. You look at Penn and Teller doing world tours at their age, and it shows that they love magic. But the other thing that this clip kind of said to me is flight time is important. Now, I bang on about this on this channel all the time. I talk about flight time, and the way that you get better is you do something over and over again. It's interesting to hear David Copperfield say, well, you know what? I don't think that I've really nailed a trick until I've performed it 500 times. How many of us learn a trick, we perform it a dozen times, and we decide it's not for us? Sometimes maybe you just have to persevere and you have to really work it out, and you have to do 500 times of a performance. You have to do 650 shows a year in order to get it working. I don't know. It's kind of something interesting, and it was very interesting hearing that this is David Copperfield's philosophy. So there you go. It's a little viral clip that's going all over the internet at the moment. Absolutely worth talking about. Okay, I said I wasn't going to spend too much time talking about conventions, but some exciting news dropped, which is the Wessex Magic Convention is back in 2026, specifically on the 29th of March 2026. Now, they are yet to announce any acts, they're yet to announce anybody on the actual bill, but it's very exciting that the Wessex Magic Convention's back. Every couple of years, they put another convention on. It's always a fantastic convention. It's always very friendly. It's one of my favorite conventions of the year, and I will definitely be attending. So there you go. If you want a really fun convention in a really nice place, it's the Wessex Magic Convention, 29th of March 2026. You can check the website for all the details. Now, you're watching this on the Tuesday. There are some things that are going to be happening over the weekend. First of all, we'll start on the Sunday. On the Sunday, there's 2 things happening in the Midlands. You kind of have to pick one. First of all, you've got the Magic Car Boot Sale, which is taking place in Birmingham on the 14th of September. That's this Sunday. It normally starts around about 9 o'clock and goes through till about midday, half past 1 o'clock, something like that. And the Magic Car Boot Sale is great. It's basically it's not a car boot sale. It's basically a mini dealer hall. So it's lots and lots of dealers selling stuff. Some very well-known dealers will be there. People like Neo Magic, people like Hocus Pocus, people like Albion Magic. But then you're going to have people setting up a table and just like selling off some of their stuff. It's a really fun sort of, it's not convention, it's kind of more of it's a fun thing that happens twice a year in the Midlands. It's run by Alec Powell from Albion Magic, and it's always very well attended. It's a very friendly vibe, lots of people catching up and chatting. It's almost like a kind of a mini convention, and they sell the best bacon sandwiches. So that's the first thing that's taking place this weekend in the Midlands in the UK. You can you can just pay on the door if you want to go. I think it's a couple of quid, but there you go. The second thing that's happening is the IBM one-day Magic Convention is taking place in Leicester again this Sunday, and it's going through from 9 o'clock in the morning through till 10 o'clock at night, and there is a lot going on at that convention. So first of all, they've got lectures by Cain and Abel, they've got lectures by Eddie McCall, they've got lectures by the legend himself, Graham Shaw. There's the close-up competition, there's the stage competition, there's the evening gala show. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. The IBM is always great. Now, this is a one-day convention because they're trying to kind of rejuvenate the convention, and the IBM over here, the British Ring, kind of fell away a little bit over the last few years, the last decade, so they're kind of really bringing it up slowly, and I think that's a very smart thing to do. And I'm very excited about this one-day convention. There's going to be dealers there as well, but we don't go for the dealers to the IBM, really. We go for everything else, and it's a really fun one-day convention. So take your pick. You can go to the Magic Car Boot Sale, you can go to the IBM convention. Both of those are happening on the Sunday, and then on the Saturday we have the Magic and Mischief show, which I am putting on. It's in Rugeley, so also in the Midlands. So if you're going to any of those things on the Sunday, come along to the show as well. There's a matinee performance at 7 o'clock. At 3 o'clock. Doors open at 2:30, and then there's an evening show. Doors open at 6:30, and it's 7 o'clock start time. Two shows. The first half is compared by Thomas Maloney, who I know you all probably know if you've watched this channel. You've got Nia Evans on there doing her pop noodle act. You've got Jess from the Jessimentary doing her quick change act. You've got Emma and Harry from Magic Bar Live, the incredible young magicians who are just brilliant, and they are obviously the children of Chris Williams and Claire Williams that run the Magic Bar Live. You've got Jay Blunt, who's one of the stage magicians at Smoke and Mirrors, an amazing guy. So the first half is packed, and then in the second half, you've got Ryland and Thea doing their full Magic and Mischief show. It's going to be amazing. So if anybody wants to come, you are more than welcome to. I'm going to give you a code right now. If you want to go to the evening show and you type in IBM, capital I, capital B, capital M, IBM, and then evening, lowercase, that'll give you 50% off the tickets. And if you want to go to the daytime show, the matinee show, if you type in IBM, capital letters, and then underneath matinee, lowercase, that'll give you 50% off the matinee tickets. Tickets have almost sold out. It's very, very exciting. So if you do want to come on the 13th, I'll be there. I'll be doing some close-up magic. I might even, appear on stage at some point. I'm not too sure. But that's it. 13th of September, live right at the Rugeley Rose Theatre in the Midlands. Okay, so let's talk about Timothy Wenk. Timothy Wenk is a creator of magic. He's a legend in this community. He's created probably one of the most popular tricks of all time in Misled. And, he's got very strong opinions of magic, which I love. And he posted in a group recently, and it's definitely worth talking about, that he said there's 3 moves in magic that will not fool anybody. And he doesn't think it'll fool anyone. And the first move is the Cut Deeper Force. The second move is the Hindu Shuffle Force. And the third move is the Olram Subtlety done more than once. He thinks none of those will fool anybody. Now, I am all for people having their own opinion. I love the fact that he shared an opinion on this. In my opinion, I completely disagree. I think that those three moves are amazing. I use the Hindu Shuffle Force an awful lot, and I think because of Michael Amar and the Easy to Master card magic series, you know, I think 90% of magicians, when they do Chicago Opener or they do Red Hot Mama, they use the Hindu Shuffle Force to force the card in Chicago Opener or Red Hot Mama. I just think that, you know, it's such a great force. I use the Hindu Shuffle a lot. I use it as a control. I use it as a full shuffle. I use it as a force. I use it in so many different ways. And, you know, I mean, I get what Timothy's talking about. I totally understand from a magician's point of view. You immediately know what's going on. But I think from a layperson's point of view, it's great, especially if you step the deck over and you turn everything up towards the audience. I think it's even better then. But even without that, it's not a problem. And there's subtleties that you can use to make the Hindu Shuffle Force look even better. But even just doing it in its bog basic format, I think it's absolutely fine. Regarding the Cut Deeper Force, I actually use the Cut Deeper Force a lot. I've actually used the Cut Deeper Force in a few different routines over the years that I've actually published. If you look at things like Focus, if you look at things like Evoke, you're going to see the Cut Deeper Force used there. I personally think the Cut Deeper Force is one of my favorite hands-off forces because I can literally do it without touching the deck. I can get the spectator to force themselves, and I love that I can get the spectator to force themselves. It's so good. So, you know, I understand where it's coming from, but from the spectator's point of view, again, it feels completely random. And as for Olram Subtlety, well, you know, one of my favourite tricks that I learned years ago, again from watching Michael Amar on Easy to Master Card Magic series, was the 8-card Brainwave. 8-card Brainwave is brilliant. I mean, there's been a million different versions of 8-card Brainwave over the years. But 8-card Brainwave is brilliant. And that is, the whole method behind that is using the Olram Subtlety. Now, technically, you only use it once, and Timothy said it won't work if you use it twice. Again, I disagree. I really do. I think that I think the Olram Subtlety is brilliant. So the reason I'm bringing this up, and I'm not trying to decry Timothy Wenk's opinion. His opinion is completely and totally valid, just like mine is and anyone else's. But it's open to discussion. What do you think? Hindu Shuffle, Olram Subtlety, Cut Deeper Force, are these no-goes when it comes to magic? Are they not going to fool anyone? Or do you think they still have a place in sleight of hand and close-up performance? Okay, so we are now into the quarterfinals on America's Got Talent. We've been talking about America's Got Talent the last few years. Magic has been really well represented on AGT this year. We've got through the auditions. We're down to the quarterfinals. They've gone back to the format they used to use a few years ago. And first of all, there's been 3 people so far, or 3 acts, 3 magic acts, 3 quarterfinals, 3 magic acts. There's been a magician in each quarterfinal. The first, or the first one to talk about is Phobias. Now, that's an illusion act using clowns. Their audition was brilliant. Their quarterfinal piece was very good. They completely stayed in character. They delivered an awful. There was a lot going on, an awful lot going on in this act. There was somebody vanishing from an illusion and appearing behind the audience. There was a moment where a Rubik's Cube turned into worms on the judge's desk. There was a moment where they did a kind of a Kevin James style thing and divided a girl in half, but they didn't do it on stage. They just brought her out in half. They made a doll of her appear using the chair from Wonder Makers, and then ripped that doll in half, and then she got bought up. There was an awful lot going on. I'm probably missing half a dozen things. They got buzzed by Simon and by Mel B, who said that they thought it was too slow and it wasn't as good as their audition. I thought it was really good. I thought it was great. I love the fact that it was an illusion act with a lot of kind of personality behind it. It was very personality driven. I think the worms was a weak point. I don't think that needed to happen. You know, and I think that I don't know. It's just my opinion, but I thought that the whole act overall was great. I thought it was great. And then Alan Simonoff was on the next week, and he did a card manipulation routine. Well, he did a manipulation routine. It was very difficult to really see exactly what was going on. The stage was not lit great. It was difficult to see what was going on. And I think part of the reason is there was a chair he was sitting on. And at one point, the chair like floated up in the air, broke into 3 pieces, came back together, and then came back down onto the floor, and he sat down on it. And there were moments where apples floated up and down. So I think that the lighting was to protect the secret for what was happening in the act, but it meant that the lighting affected the majority of what was going on. And again, he got buzzed by Mel B, and he got some negative comments from the other judges. And I think it was because it was difficult to see what was going on. I think his performance was great, but I had to rewind it a couple of times to really kind of focus in on what was going on. And I suppose that's the most important thing, you know. I mean, you can do, I'm sure he's done this act a million times over, but when you're dealing with thread, when you're dealing with lighting, you never know. Sometimes things are going to be affected. I've seen stage acts where they've had things lit a certain way in order to deal with thread and so on and so forth. And what's actually ended up happening is it's really affected the rest of the act. And I think that's what happened there with Alan. However, having said that, he's such a good performer. And then finally, you had Mastermind. Now, Mastermind is kind of a little bit like Hacker from BGT this year, but without the comedy. So he's kind of playing it for real. He's combining technology and magic. And again, there was an awful lot going on. There was production of a deck of cards with emojis on them from the phone. Simon was picking an emoji. The emoji was revealed. There was somebody randomly picked in the audience, and they randomly they thought of somebody, and their phone started ringing with the person they were thinking of. They then asked that person where they were, and they said an elevator, and you know, the elevator ended up turning into a love heart. There was a whole lot of stuff going through. Mastermind actually went through. Very unique act, very different. Good. Yeah, I mean, it was good. I mean, it was good. I mean, you read the YouTube comments and people are just moaning about, oh, it's got to be a stooge, it's got to be blah, 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 blah. Forget about all of that. The act was well presented. I'm not too keen on the whole wearing a mask thing. I just never have been. Unless it's Jeff McBride and it's part of the act. I don't get the whole wearing a mask thing. I mean, Hacker did it for comedy on BGT, so that kind of worked. And obviously, everyone's copying Mark Spellman and X because he did it brilliantly. But I think everything else that's come beyond that is a copy. I think that this person, Mastermind, whoever it is, exceptional performer. You can just tell. I think it'd be better if they didn't have a mask on and they just actually performed, because people focus on who it is as opposed to the actual performance. But there you go. That's AGT. AGT is doing really well. Magic has been really well represented, despite some negative comments from the judges. Some breaking news from the Conjourers over in Las Vegas. I've obviously interviewed the Conjourers on this channel. A couple of amazing guys, really nice guys. And they've just put out a press release. We are beyond thrilled to announce that we're opening a brand new Las Vegas residency, performing 6 nights a week in the heart of the Strip, which is amazing because they were at the Orleans for a long while. Secret Wonders will be the name of the show, and it'll be filmed with never before seen effects, impossible moments, and lots of surprises we cannot wait to share with you. Thanks for your incredible support and being part of this journey. We can't wait to be back on stage in Las Vegas. And they say that Secret Wonders is coming March 2026. So congratulations to the Conjurers. And if anybody's going to Vegas, March onwards next year, make sure you go check them out in their new Vegas residency. Okay, a bit of a thing that I've never mentioned on this channel before, and especially on Magic News, I want to send everyone over to Caroline Raven's YouTube channel, Raven Magic, RAVNMAGIC. And the reason is, Caroline Raven, obviously, very successful magician, very successful performer, performed at a very high level, doesn't have a problem getting gigs. And I've not watched her channel really too much, but I binged it recently because she's been spending a lot of time putting videos online about getting more gigs, being better at business. And for anybody who doesn't know, I would probably be just as at home reading a marketing book as I would be a magic book. I love marketing, I love business. I spend a lot of time doing motivational speaking to business owners and coaching business owners. That's something I do an awful lot of. So I love it when I see more people talking about business. When this channel first started, I spent a lot of time talking about marketing. We jacked that off after a while. It used to be Marketing Mondays. I jacked that off after a while because People just don't seem to be interested in marketing, or at least they weren't in 2020 when I started this channel. So I spend a lot of time talking about marketing and business on the Netrix, my streaming platform. However, Caroline is doing a great job. Just her last 3 videos are exceptional, which was why most magicians aren't getting gigs and how you can fix it, a booked calendar blueprint, how to make sure your calendar is booked solid, and 7 visibility hacks to attract high paying clients. Caroline is one of these people that is talking the talk, but she also walks the walk. And if anybody here wants more gigs, if anybody here is interested in business, if anybody here wants to listen to content or watch content about how to get more gigs, then you should absolutely go and check out Caroline Raven's YouTube channel. It's amazing. Okay, it's worth talking about Tim Ellis. So first of all, I just want to say Tim Ellis is one of my favourite magicians of all time. I love Tim Ellis. I think he's amazing. His DVD sets are incredible. I think that he's... I could sit and listen to Tim for hours. I spent a bit of time with him in FISM. Really great guy. Very much like Tim. And he made a post on Magicians Only. And it's a very interesting post, and it's definitely discussion worthy. So let me tell you about the post. He says, so many times I've seen magicians post in this forum saying exposure videos on YouTube don't matter and we should ignore them. Following is an excerpt from a review about a show currently playing in New York that clearly shows that these videos do have a negative effect. But and this is the quote, by the time movies like The Prestige and The Illusionist came out, my skepticism had only deepened. These films confirm my suspicion that magic was little more than smoke, mirrors and setups. Add to that the countless YouTube reveal videos showing how illusions work, or worse, showing that some audiences were in on the trick, and my interest in the genre has almost completely evaporated. And then he put an update a few days later. Update, I appreciate those in the comments who understood the point of this post, but for those who didn't, the reviewer did not think that magic was real and lose interest when they found it wasn't. The reviewer saw behind the scenes and had a "is that all it is" moment and subsequently lost interest. This is not a post decrying exposure in magic and trying to make it stop. Yes, I know exposure has been around a long time, but with AI it's now easier than ever to find out how a trick works. But this example is not somebody actively seeking secrets, but somebody coming across them inadvertently, and it spoilt the fun for them. 3, this is not a one-off comment in my experience. In 52 years of performing, I've heard this many times. People enjoy watching magic until someone showed them how it was done, then the magic was gone. 4, this is nothing to do with being entertaining. It's a baseline that any of us going on stage must be entertaining. The thing that defines us as magicians is not how entertaining we are, but the fact that we must fool people, that we create a magical experience that causes them to literally suspend their belief during a show. This is much harder to do when you know the secrets. Just think of the last time you performed to a group of magicians at a convention versus a lay audience. We all prefer the lay audiences who don't know how the tricks are done. The takeaway of this post is, with the knowledge that exposure can and does impact enjoyment of a portion of your audience, what are you going to do about it? You can't stop exposure. You can't just be more entertaining. For me, the solution is to make my magic exposure proof. Try to avoid doing the latest tricks that are all over the internet that all the other magicians are doing. Try to create new and original methods. If you must do a hot new trick, change it substantially enough so people can't Google it. And for heaven's sake, don't say this next trick is called. Bottom line, approach your audience as though they've already got a working knowledge of magic. Be like Darren Brown and combine different tricks and methods to really fool the pants off the rest of us. And then he says, one final example. The other night I was strolling and, as I do occasionally, I performed the standard silk vanish with a thumb tip. I got 2 distinctly different reactions. 1, wow, that's impossible. 2, you did that really well. Obviously, the latter audience members were aware of the method. So because the silk is so associated with the tip, when I used it to vanish a bill, I no longer got the second reaction. Take the knowledge that that many people, whether they're intended to or not, have now found out a lot about our methods and use it against them. Modify your method or effect and help them once again suspend their belief. Right. Oh, and it says final thought. One point that might resonate is when a reviewer said, YouTube reveal video showing how illusions work, or worse, showing how some audiences run on the trick. For many people, I wonder if it happened to you too. In the early days of street magic on TV, we were really impressed by certain magicians doing impossible feats until we realised that the audience members were stooges, or they took advantage of camera edits, and that feeling we had is the feeling that reviewers talking about, literal disillusionment. I understand where Tim's coming from, I really do, and I kind of disagree, and I've got a couple of points as to why I disagree. The first point actually is this part where he says, don't use new methods, try to avoid doing the latest tricks that are all over the internet that all the other magicians are doing. Try to create new and original methods. Change it substantially enough so people can't Google it. See, I don't think that's going to make a difference. Let's say I really enjoy doing the ambitious card, and I come up with a new method. I take your advice, and I come up with a new method of doing the ambitious card, a completely revolutionary method that's never been done before. Now, all that's going to happen if a layperson wants to understand how that works, and they Google card coming to the top of the deck later on when they get home, and they see an exposure video for the ambitious card, they're just going to assume that that method that they're taught in the YouTube video is the method I used. They're not going to go, well, okay, that's obviously different. They're going to be satisfied, because when people search for a method behind a trick, and some people do, they forget it a few days later. But when they do, it's not like they're going to critically examine that method and go, well, that's not what I saw. It's not going to happen. They're going to see, okay, turn two cards over, put it in the middle, whatever the case may be, and they're going to go, oh, that's what he must have done. So I think changing the method so that people can't Google it, I don't see how that's going to work. Because by changing the method to the trick, they're still going to search for the same trick, right? It's like if I come up with a revolutionary new way of making coins jump from one place to another, and I go on YouTube and I type in how to make coins jump from one place to another, and I see a tutorial for, like, let's just say a basic sleight of hand version, that's what they're going to think that I'm going to do. So in essence, the only way to get around this point that you're making, Tim, is by literally coming up with brand new effects, which is very, very difficult to do. Like brand new effects that can't be Googled or searched in any way. It's a very difficult thing to do. But also, I've got some points here. So interest in magic has never been higher. It's really not. Interest in magic has never, ever, ever been higher. Like, people love magic. It's everywhere. And I speak of this not just from seeing people win Britain's Got Talent for the second. You know, we've just had a magician win Britain's Got Talent. We've had, magic is always king on things like America's Got Talent, but there's so many live shows. Heck, I've just talked about the Conjourers getting a new Las Vegas show. We've got new shows taking place in, London all the time. Hell, my kids have just put on a show that we only started advertising tickets for a week before. They're two kids doing an illusion show, and they've pretty much sold out the theatre, and we've still got a week to go. Like, magic's really, really popular, and it's not like, and I talk about this from an entertainment agency's point of view. We're looking at the stats here, and we're getting more inquiries and more bookings than we have ever had in the entire history of the company. Interest in magic has never been higher. There may be people out there, there's always people that are going to not like a particular thing. In every industry, there's going to be people that don't like something. I went to the cinema and I saw the new Superman film. I loved it. But I know some people didn't love it. They hated it. There's always going to be some people that go, well, I don't like magic because of this. And that's fine, but there's a load of other people that do, because shows are selling out and people are booking more tickets to those shows than ever before. The other thing is, the review that you shared, Tim, is an anecdote, not data. It's not like we've polled 1,000 reviewers and we've asked their opinion on magic and based that opinion to come up with a kind of an outcome. This is one person's opinion. And again, it's great. That's his opinion. That's fine. It's interesting that his opinion. Let me look at the actual. There you go. It's interesting that he started off by talking about movies. By the time movies like Prestige and The Illusionist came out, my skepticism had only deepened. So I don't see any exposure in like The Illusionist or The Prestige. But he was like thinking, well, this magic stuff is bollocks, just based off watching those movies. Yes, are people going to accidentally find videos exposing how tricks are done? Yeah, absolutely. Are people going to really pay attention to it? I don't think they are. Now, maybe this guy does because he's a professional reviewer. He goes out and he reviews shows and he reviews, films, I imagine, and theatre shows and so on and so forth. He's a professional journalist. His job is to critically analyse shows. And also, and let's be honest, reviewers tend to try to sensationalise things as well. And I talk about that from being a reviewer. I will get more views if I take something I don't like and snap it in half and throw it across the room, then I go, I don't like this, I'm going to get more views. It's just as simple as that. Reviewers will sensationalize things. But his job is as a reviewer. So if he sees something like a YouTube exposure video, will he more than likely remember it and the next time he goes to do a show? Probably, maybe, obviously, but most people don't. You know, I don't even remember. If I've got an interest in magic, I love magic, and I don't remember what... I find exposure videos on YouTube all the time. I don't remember them at all. You know, I saw a really cool self-working card trick the other day, and I was like, oh man, I really like that, and I watched the method. Could I tell you how it works now? Absolutely not. No clue. No idea. And I went back to try and find it. And I'm interested in magic. If somebody finds it and they're not interested in magic and they watch it, they might go, oh, that's how it's done. And then a week or two later, they're not going to remember. And it's definitely not going to affect their enjoyment the next time they decide or not decide to go and see a magic show, especially with how magic's so popular. Also, it's not like exposure is new. It's not like this is a new thing that we're facing. The thing that drives me up the wall at the moment is when people go, "Oh, we're in a crisis. Exposure's worse than ever before because of social media and because of YouTube and because of Reels and TikTok and this and the other." It's always been this way. It's just that now the information's more accessible. But it was only a decade or so ago that we had the Masked Magician going on prime time television. And this is when prime time meant something, not with these days when the viewing figures have gone down the toilet, but when prime time actually meant something, going out every single week, exposing how illusions work, exposing how close-up magic worked. And that wasn't the only show. I'm using the Masked Magician as an example. But, you know, I remember everybody when the Masked Magician was going on, the magic community going, oh my God, magic is over. We're never going to be able to do these illusions again. Well, everybody's still using the same concepts that he exposed. Nothing's changed, and more people are coming to shows than ever before. Exposure's not new. It's been happening for years. And you know, I've got one more point here, which is the real secret isn't the method. The real secret isn't the method. The real secret, I know you say it's not about making it more entertaining. For me, it is. For me, it's about getting people to connect with an audience. For me, you know, one of my big tricks that I do when I go on stage, I was on stage doing a wedding, doing an illusion show with Nemid and Ryan and Thea just Friday. And that one of my big things that I do that takes up about 8 minutes of the show is literally just 4 riffle forces. That's it. 4 riffle forces. And I get a standing ovation every single time I do it, and it plays to a massive room. And it was the same thing that happened again on Saturday night. And it's 4 riffle forces, and it's an entertaining piece that people love. Nobody is watching that when they're videoing that performance. Nobody's watching it going, well, that was a riffle force and I saw a riffle. No, they're just having a great time. That's the most important thing. Entertainment first, magic second, at least for me. Now, everyone's got their own opinion, and I value your opinion, Tim, because you're one of my favorite magicians. I just, you know, this is an opinion-driven YouTube channel, and just wanted to give my opinion back. And, you know, I respectfully disagree with what you're saying there, but you're entitled to your opinion. Okay, so let's finish off by talking about a few tricks that have come out in the last couple of weeks. Now, again, I'm not reviewing these. These are ones that I haven't got yet, well, other than one. These are ones that I'm going to be reviewing soon, but I'm bringing these to you so you know what's out there, and kind of summarizing them based on the ad copy and the trailer. So we've got the Shadow Writer by Vernay. Now, they say this is a new concept in thumb writing. It's no longer a normal thumb writer. You get a pad, and you get the shadow pad, and you get the Shadow Writer, and apparently it has a lot of advantages over a normal thumb writer or a boom writer, and Vernay have brought out lots of those over the years. So you know, the Shadow Writer sounds very, very interesting. Dot to Dot by Manoj Kashel. I didn't really get what this was. I read through the ad copy like a dozen times. It sounds like it's a dot to dot, you know, like as a kid where you do dot to dot, move the line to 1, then 2, then 3, and it creates an image. But it's using those cards in a way to do some sort of mentalism thing. The ad copy was all over the place. I'm not really 100% sure what's going on, but it sounds interesting, and I love the idea of using a dot to dot to do a mentalism reveal. So that sounds really interesting. It's called Dot to Dot. Quantum Calculator by Netrix sounds really interesting. It's an old school style calculator, like the sort of thing that you'd have in a school in the 1990s, but it's really high tech and Bluetooth enabled. So you can do toxic style forces, but without going anywhere near the calculator. You could have them type in numbers, whole bunch of different stuff, and, you know, tell them exactly what they've got in front of them. Apparently there's a bunch of routines with it. My only question is, would it look weird bringing one of these old school style calculators out? But as long as you can justify it in a kind of a justifiable way, I think that's a bloody amazing idea, especially as toxic is no longer a thing on iPhones. I think that's a great idea. So that's the quantum calculator. Leo Smesters has brought out the commercial paddle routine. If you don't know, when Turbo Stick was brought out by Richard Sanders, it was Leo Smesters and Richard Sanders that kind of worked on that together. And now Leo Smesters is bringing out his own commercial paddle routine with his own paddle with the blessing from Richard Sanders. That's kind of interesting. So there's that. So next we have the Edge Reveal by The Slight Company. The Edge Reveal are a bunch of 52 stickers. You can get them for blue back card boxes or red back card boxes, and it's a revelation of a playing card. Doesn't really say much else, and there's not a trailer, but that sounds kind of really interesting. Comedy Flower by Mago Flash. I'm not normally a big fan of Mago Flash's stuff. This looks really interesting. It's a magic wand that sprays water, but at the same time a flower can appear from the end of it, and you've got a little flower pot that a flower can appear from the end of it. So the whole idea is that you're going to make a flower appear, and you wave the wand and it squirts you in the face, or squirts the kid in the face, and then you make the flower appear, but the flower appears on the wand, and you've got a look no see moment, and then when you go to look up at the wand, it's now over there on the vase, and then when you look at the vase, it's back on the seems really interesting. I think it would be a very good kids trick. Then you've got Impossible by Michael Chatelain. This sounds impossible. This looks impossible. The effect is that you have someone pick a card, they sign the card on a sticker, the card vanishes, and it appears in an envelope that has been held by the spectator from the beginning of the show. And he says he calls it impossible because the effect absolutely is impossible. Sounds amazing. Then you have Nowhere Else, which is a book that's been brought out by Gerard Bachner, and he says this is a brand new principle in mentalism that allows you to do impromptu card effects where the spectator can shuffle the deck. Doesn't really say much else beyond that, but apparently it's a brand new principle. It's difficult to get new principles in Magic these days, so that sounds good. Invisible Snow by Bon Lee is his way of actually doing Snowstorm. He's got a new concept for the fan, so that it blows the snowstorm out. I personally use the Snow Table by Thomas More Creative, which is my favorite way of doing it. So it's going to be interesting to see if this is as good as the Snow Table, but Invisible Snow is now available. And then finally, and we'll be doing a video on this more in the future very, very soon, so I'm not going to dwell on it, but the Prestige has finally come out by me and Matthew Wright. Me and Matt spent a couple of years working on the Prestige. It's basically the old sort of metal chip thing where the black and the white chips change places and then all different colors, but we've built it into car keys. Matt's presentation is hilarious. It's all about going to a swingers party. It's very Matt. It's very, very Matt Wright. I'll be doing a video on that very, very soon. I'm not going to say any more on that now, other than go pick it up. It's available. It's called The Prestige by myself and Matt Wright. So there you go. That's a bunch of tricks that have come out this week. So there you go, guys. That is another video in the bag. Thank you for joining me on a Tuesday on Magic News. Don't forget, I'm going to be back with Ryland tomorrow with a review show. Thursday, Friday, we've got a bunch of videos. We've got videos all week, so make sure that you check them all out. I will see you again soon. Don't forget to join the Netrix if you haven't done so. It's my online streaming platform for magicians, and I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig, and this is Magic TV.